Greetings, thank you for stopping by to hear my thoughts and questions about the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 5. For the first time this series, we are not on the planet Tatooine. Instead, we join Din Djarin as he closes in on another bounty. This is the first bounty we see Din collect since he became guardian of Grogu in Chapter 1 of The Mandalorian. This Klatooinian target chooses to be brought in cold, requiring Din's use of the Darksaber, stabbing and slicing his way to another bounty payday. After seeing the emphatic ending of this fight scene, and the ensuing walk with proof of bounty in bag, some thoughts definitely crossed my mind. The Book of Boba Fett is presenting plenty of ideas to video game developers should we get another bounty hunter style game. Sure, it may require a mature rating to be able to walk around with a head as proof of bounty, but if games like The Witcher 3 and Red Dead Redemption 2 can do it, why not Star Wars? The next thought was that as he walks to get his pay from his client, this is the life that Boba is completely over. Was that payday really worth how much injury Din just took? How many jobs will he have to take before one of these so-called idiots, as Boba says, gets him killed? I'm guessing that Din still thinks of the woman from Sorgon, Omera. She really got into his head with the idea of settling down with Grogu on a nice quiet planet. Also, in Chapter 4, we hear Fennec tell Boba before they rescue the Slave One that people like us don't get to decide when we're finished. I'll finish up this section of thoughts with a question for you. Do you think we will ever see an adolescent Din Djarin in, say, like a Clone Wars Bad Batch style animation? Or we could possibly get just an appearance in Bad Batch Season 2. Now I'm going to switch gears into a more personal side as Din limps through the city. A few hours before this episode premiered, I had posted a picture along with some feelings in a Discord run by the 1313 podcast. I'll drop their link tree in the description of this video. You can go ahead and join and check the figure of the day section if you want to fact check me, but regardless of all that, it was obvious that the timing for the Armorer to make another appearance couldn't be better. Since her debut, this character has been a major conduit in regards to the way that the lore of the Mandalorians is told. A small detail I love to see returning is how Din sits down as the Armorer starts to get ready to use her forge. Catching up over lost time, the Armorer mentions many subjects. She gives us her viewpoints on Moff Gideon, Bo-Katan, and also what I'm taking to be a reference to Sabine Wren from the animated show Rebels. I'm making the Sabine Wren reference connection from when the Armorer says that Beskar is not to be made into weapons. All of these events in the Armorer's mind are what led to the destruction of Mandalore committed by the Empire in what is known as the Night of 1,000 Tears. As she reforges the Beskar spear into armor for Grogu, I was a little surprised to hear her accept him as a foundling. I wasn't sure we would see Grogu for a long time. I just thought that if he wasn't around for a little longer, it might mean more when he returns. But let's get back to the Armorer and Din. She is teaching him more about the Darksaber, which is making me realize that in the opening fight scene, I thought he was being stylish when he was dragging it on the ground, but it was a lack of control. The Armorer mentions to Din that the blade says his mind is not ready. Lingering near the lessons is none other than Paz Vizsla. He claims ancestral right to the blade in a duel. After accepting and eventually losing possession of the Darksaber to Paz Vizsla, Din Djarin's lessons with the Armorer are put on emphasis as we see Paz Vizsla swinging the Darksaber with all strength and zero mindfulness. Shortly after, the armorer calls the duel off in favor of Din, prompting the question from the armorer to both combatants, "Have you ever removed your helmet?" With his admittance and then subsequent banishment, I wonder if Bo-Katan's words are enough for Din to feel that he still is a Mandalorian. Let me know in the comments if you think Season 3 of Mandalorian could involve Din Djarin returning to Mandalore to redeem his status within the covert, possibly with Bo-Katan or Boba Fett, still without his own personal ship, RIP Razor Crest. Din Djarin is forced to travel via public transportation. Are there no rental ships in Star Wars? I would imagine he would like some privacy to take the helmet off. Regardless, as he stares off into space, no words are needed to remind us of the good times we've had with the young and curious Grogu. Chapter 5 then progresses to tell us that Din is about to change all this shipless bounty hunter nonsense by traveling to Tatooine and following up on a message from Peli Motto. As soon as we enter Peli's hangar, we are introduced to the first live-action BD unit. This adorable droid reminds me that I need to platinum, or try to platinum, Jedi Fallen Order on PlayStation before the second one comes out. As this part of the chapter progressed, it became more and more apparent that this is the most I've ever connected on a personal level with Star Wars. But before I begin down that path, I would like to ask if anybody else got the feeling that an N1 Starfighter hot rod was aimed at the target audience of one George Lucas, the maker himself. Did anybody else get that feeling? Lastly, before the personal stuff, I have to say any ship building montage involving Din Djarin will remind me of Quill. R.I.P. good sir. Okay, now that I got you all sentimental from Quill's death, I'll go into what connected with me from this part of the chapter. It's possible some of you out there have connected on this level too. I'm talking about if you are a pilot, maybe you connect with the starfighter scenes more. Or if you are current or ex-military, maybe you find connection with the rebels or the clone army of Camino. As for me, my occupation is a certified automotive restoration technician. I manage a shop here in Utah, so these are some of my daily feelings at work. I feel like in a galaxy far, far away, I would love to work at Peli's hangar, talking dank and fixing starships. I'm all for a sarcastic tone as well. I'll give my guys a pat on the back for a nice job, and then tell them to beat it. But they know it's just to keep the workplace lighthearted. On a more serious note, as Din inspects the final touches of his N1 starfighter, the position he puts his head in to look down the lines of his new ship, this is exactly how I have to inspect vehicles before sending them back to the customer. The connections to a galaxy far, far away did not end there. Whether it's the sound of a powerful custom engine coming to life for the first time, or how Peli Motto tells Din Djarin, "Give her a little juice. Oh yeah, she's purring." Or the approving look of another member of the public as you pull up next to them in something they may really enjoy. Or, of course, the feeling of opening up that throttle and being thrown back in your seat, but of course obeying the speed limit. Being able to connect to Star Wars with those first-hand feelings will make Chapter 5 of the Book of Boba Fett stand out for me forever. I want to conclude this video with a few questions for you. Do you think when Din Djarin says, "I have to visit a little friend," do you think that is Season 3 of Mandalorian or the next chapter? Oh yeah, if you aren't experiencing this show with a subwoofer, I'm just gonna say I highly recommend it. Until next time, I'm sending you happy and healthy thoughts, and hoping you keep your Star Wars genes high and tight.